Welcome back to Will at Work. I'm Kevin. Today we're going to look at the Atari joystick from Jakks Pacific. I thought I had actually looked at this one in the very beginning of this series, but apparently I didn't, so now we're looking at it as a loose Jakks Pacific stick. It was, I think, one of the first, if not the first, one that Jakks Pacific released, which was to play 2,600 games. Now, I don't, right off the top of my head, know whether these are the original 2,600 games or if this is doing what the Flashback 1 did and it's using the NES emulator to play those same games. It's just a weird thing that they did. I guess the Nintendo emulation was a little bit easier to get working in this with a selection of games, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some batteries in it. I'm going to connect it up to the video in, and I'll switch over our feed over to that side, and we'll take a look and we'll see what's on it and what the games look like. And between that and now, I'll find out if it's using an actual Atari emulation or an NES. And we'll talk about it. Here we go. All right, so we're looking at the Atari 10-in-1 joystick, classic 10-in-1 classic Atari Classic 10-in-1, something like that. You know, I did look it up, and it is a NES on a chip. So these games are sort of created. Now, I don't know the whole history behind that. That's people talk about that when they look at these things, but I don't see an article exactly explaining what that is. Like, I get the idea that, you know, it's emulating an NES, and these games are on there. But I don't know if these games come from an Atari package that was released for the NES kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like a cartridge that they took the games out and put it on here, or if these games were written specifically for you know, this package, but you know, instead of using the Atari emulator that was out there, they used the NES emulator and they wrote all these games. It seems weird to me, right? Like, why wouldn't you just use an Atari 20? Could the NES emulator just have been better at that point? Maybe it has something to do with I don't know, the timing of I mean, one thing I could kind of understand about Atari is that, you know, it wasn't really all that digital, I think. So maybe there was, like, you know, it's easier to emulate with the NES because the controls and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, it's not quite the same. I think for most people, they don't care. One problem, though, is they have things like Pong, and obviously we don't have a paddle controller here, so that's not going to be fun. Same with Circus Atari. We already looked at volleyball on another series. We've looked at Yar's Revenge in the past. Let's look at Missile Command. The button on this is a little bit recessed. This used to use a trackball in the arcade, but it was largely successful on the 2600. Start. Okay, I had to push the start button, which I didn't have to do normally on the 2600. And you had like three missile bases in different locations. So you had one on the right, one on the left, and one in the middle, and you had these three buttons in the arcade, as well as the trackball. And you would fire missiles from all three bases because you wanted to, you know, they had different timing. The one that's closer to the missile that's falling would be better to, you know, but eventually the missiles would take one of your bases out as well as your cities. And if they hit your base, it was no longer operational. And then you got to kind of hope and pray that all your cities survive for the next round. And then you keep going. It's total Cold War stuff here. The only problem with this is that, you know, the thing does move pretty quick, but the trackball, you know, gives you a lot more speed to get to where you need to go. And there's also a smart bomb that kind of comes down and can move around any which way it wants to avoid your shot. So you kind of have to lay on a lot of rockets, and you have a limited number of them in order to take it out. You have to be kind of creative to use like one shell where normally you could, you know, might need two. But as an overall, Missile Command was a kind of a fun game. This seems to work just fine. I know purists would, you know, it's not the original, but, you know, the Atari 2600 was, you know, never original anyway. It was a copy of the arcade, and the arcade was better. So, but I get what people are saying. So, I mean, this works fine. Let's hit reset. DC Studios. What would DC have to do with any of this? Right? I mean, I don't see any Batman game. Got a lot of paddle games, which doesn't make a lot of sense. There could be a hidden game or something. Gravatar. Oh. Whoop. Why do I blow up and he doesn't blow up? Bastard. What happens if I go in here? I hope that just kills me. Now, what about one of these? Like if I go to this, do I die? No. I gotta like land or something. It's like Lunar Lander, but with guns. Do I land on the purple brick? Is that what I'm trying to do? Not making it easy with these bullets. Hey. Inertia here. Oh, oh, oh. No. Ah. It's bullshit. Now let's take this base out. All right, now we can do it. Screw you, UFO. Die already. Fuck. It's really determined to get in my way. I'm trying to land here on this blue dot, which I'm not even sure is the way to go. Oh, fuck. Can't say this is the easiest thing to do with an old Atari joystick. It's not like I got a PlayStation controller here. It's finesse. Stop going in different directions. No. Fuck, man. Apparently I didn't need to land there. I don't know. What the fuck? Right, now I'm just mad. Now I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? I'm gonna just destroy everything. If all else fails, just blow shit up. See, that doesn't blow up when I shoot it. That doesn't clear the board. There's a blue one down there too. What, do I get extra points if I land on that one? Or is that like fuel or something? Do I have to like hover? Games were harder back then, man. Well, I mean, it's not Demon Souls or anything, but... What the fuck am I supposed to do? God damn. See? I don't know what you're supposed to do here. All right, well, anyway, nobody cares, right? Let's look at one more of these things, but they're all the same, I think. Yeah. That was cheap. What the fuck is this blue thing supposed to do for me? I guess you don't land on it. You just blow everything up and then leave? I don't know. It's weird. Yep, I'm no good at that. Gravatar. Junk. Do we want to look at anything else? I know Adventure's calling us, but I don't think that's fun. Atari. Let's kick some balloons or whatever. This would totally make a lot more sense if this had paddle controls. It's bad enough trying to get stuff to work with paddle controls than it is with a joystick. It's like a weird way to do Breakout. Kids having nightmares. Balloon Man. All right, so that's the Atari 10-in-1. You know, for like 10, 15 bucks or whatever it was in 2002. It's just a little nostalgia item you could sit and play, but nothing to write home about, really. I mean, you know, like most of these games, I really think the draw is with the multiplayer ones. These single-player games, you know, Yar's Revenge is like, you know, that's a typical single-player. It's a good time. Try and get a high score on it and everything. But like most of the other ones are just kind of meh. So, in my opinion anyway. But, yep, there you go. Now you've seen it. Now you know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see what we got for tomorrow.